Alright, so today we are taking a look at what it's like to tank with Paladin in beta for TVC. I've never done a voiceover before, so this should be kind of interesting because I'm listening to my own voice while I watch this. So throughout this dungeon, you're going to see that there's a pretty decent amount of damage coming out from me as the Paladin. So threat really wasn't too big of a problem throughout the dungeon. The biggest problem throughout this whole dungeon is mana. So Paladin has a passive where you gain mana back when you are healed. I believe it is 8% of what you are healed, you get back as mana. So you have to do this balancing act of taking enough damage, pulling enough stuff, but not pulling so much that you are overloading the healer and, of course, dying. So this is also done with a group that has essentially no AoE. It was a warlock, a druid, and an arms warrior that was actually prot in Classic. So really, I'm the only one doing any serious AoE here to begin with. Now, I have done Ramparts with a group that was Mage, Warlock, Hunter, I believe. And we did do this faster, but I wasn't ready to record. It was super late, and I was still getting used to tanking as a prop pally. So, some pros. Avenger Shield is insane starting threat, and it's exactly what Paladin needed over top of Vanilla. In Vanilla, you had no great way of getting that initial threat for packs. You basically just had to run in, cast Judgment on something, tab over to the next mob, drop Consecrate, and kind of pray that you got some good Holy Shield ticks, some, Ret Aura ticks, maybe some Thorns or Sanctuary, something to get that initial threat. Whereas here, you're getting these huge hits, 400, 500, over 1,000 damage for a crit, and with Righteous Fury, that's just going to be an insane amount of initial threat. So when I'm not pulling larger packs, what I like to do is I like to activate Holy Shield, throw the Avengers, get everything together, drop the Consecration, and I think the Avenger Shield gets enough threat now if I'm doing smaller packs where I can just, at the start, drop a max rank Consecrate. Once I get a few Sanctuary, Ret, Holy Shield procs, then to conserve mana, I should just throw down rank 1 Consecrate. Because rank 1 Consecrate is still doing a huge amount of damage. I think it was still in like the 90s or something, because I had a Greater Arcane Elixir, a Brilliant Wizard Oil, as well as I forget the food that gives spell power as well. So even though I'm in mitigation gear, except for my second trinket is Nelth's Tear for that extra spell power, it's more than enough damage for threat. Now, I believe here in a moment, I bite off a little bit more than we should have been able to chew. Thankfully, the DPS was enough and the healer was also good enough to where when we pull the boss as well, that caster comes, I was able to get threat on everything, and it wasn't that big of a deal. The other thing that's really nice about Paladin is if we do get to low health, it triggers our new talent. If it's maxed out, when you're below 35% HP, damage is reduced by 30%. And then on top of Righteous Fury, which is 6%, on top of your, armor mitigation. And I also took the 2 points in reducing spell damage. So, that's a huge amount of mitigation. I was just checking how that looked. My bags are incredibly full. I made a bunch of wizard oils, got a bunch of mana pots. So I think that's the big thing if you are going to tank dungeons as Paladin is plan on bringing a ton of mana potions. Now, again, like I said, I have done this faster with AoE groups, and you can even do fun things like getting the initial threat on the mobs, dragging them through a blizzard or a flame strike, something that could slow them down or stun them, and you just keep running while they walk through all the AoE on the ground. You're not going to take much damage. It's not a big deal. So it's been so long since I seriously tanked Ramparts, but I remember this pull so well back in the day. On heroic mode, you really had to be careful about, killing the middle guy first. But as you can see, unless they're critting, which isn't very often, the mobs don't do that much damage. God forbid I have Redoubt up, which is, going to put me over 50% block. And then while I have Holy Shield charges up, that's also going to put me over 50% block, and then together over 80% block. So as long as I'm, blocking, almost all of their damage is mitigated as a melee. So again, here you're seeing that we just have to stop for my mana. I'm not manning all the way up because I'm just trying to save time. I don't know if they can increase the mana you gain from being healed, or maybe this will be better in raid when you're taking more consistent or bigger hits of damage. Because you can see I'm not taking really any damage, like a few hundred here or there. So when the healer heals me, I'm getting no mana. Renew, some bubbles, and some flash of lights is more than enough when I'm not grabbing a ton of packs. Now, I did test once before pulling 7 or 8 packs, but again, I didn't have an AoE group, and it was just taking us too long to AoE it all down. I want to come back here with a mage, hunter, warlock, and another paladin to drop consecrate. And at that point, I think we'd have more than enough AoE DPS to just hammer through it all. But again, when we're being reasonable, pulling not that many packs, my health barely moves. Now, of course, I am in crazy mitigation gear. I have Face of Death, Stylings, the ZG ring set, 505 tier 2.5, the AQ gloves and wrists, tier 2 bracers, Gluth's Lost Collar, and also the ZG cloak. So even with using Nel's tier, and now I switch over to the Mark of the Champion, because this is a demon, and you'll see I open up with a 712 exorcism. What I should have done is I should have thrown Avenger's Shield, then Exorcism. Actually, no. It should have been throw Avenger's Shield, Holy Wrath, Exorcism, hit him with the Judgment, and then from there was no way they were going to pull Threat off of me. It just wasn't going to happen. Even then, it didn't matter. It's a demon. I have Mark of the Chosen, and he dies pretty quick. So, even against the boss, the damage just really isn't that big of a deal. So now we just have a couple little packs left and then the final boss. So I do make a mistake for the final boss. I forgot that when you kill the final pack before the boss, he immediately comes down and pulls. So I did not have much mana. But then again, it didn't matter. I lose aggro on the dragon for a moment. I was making sure I didn't have Mark of the Champion on. Again, we ripped through the packs just fine, even though this is not an AoE group. Aggro, no big deal. So how did it feel? It feels good. In vanilla, there is a problem when it comes to holding threat, for sure. Your group has to let you get 1 or 2 Holy Shield procs for you to get ahead on aggro, because once you get those couple of procs against a melee mob or boss, your threat's gonna go kind of through the roof. But so far, I'm really liking Paladin a lot. There's many issues that have been fixed. We have a pseudo taunt. The mana issue is a little bit better, and we actually do some pretty decent damage. If you'd like to see me tank some other stuff, you can come check out the stream at twitch.tv/the Duke of TBC, and I'm going to be testing out other dungeons and just having as much fun as I can tanking. So with that, I think that's going to just about do it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and are looking forward to more Paladin fun in the future. Alright, later guys.